if you believe in a project, it's got a future. Like crypto is not going away. Like, and a lot of people don't understand it, but the technology is not going anywhere. Like, so we're all in the right space. It's going to happen eventually, but you need to survive in the meantime, right? So just relax and enjoy it.
What's up, world, and welcome to a special edition of the Super Investor Show. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie like my producer just told me to. We're not filming this on Boxing Day or St. Stephen's Day. We have filmed this a week in advance, okay? So you know you can trust me here. Most importantly, if it's your first time, this show is for investors like you who want to learn from other people's mistakes. And who better than some of the smartest, wealthiest minds in my network? And on today, I didn't tell this person this is how I was going to introduce him. He is the Irish version of David Schwartz. I know, that's quite a compliment. So, Martin, you've got a lot to live up to now. If you really want to understand why I've called him the Irish version of David Schwartz, please take a moment to read his bio down below. I don't think I've ever done that for a guest before, told you to read their bio, but this is one that you do not want to miss. So without further ado, please welcome up the Irish version of David Schwartz, Martin Valk.
Hi, Jordan. Wow, that's something that's hard to live up to.
It is. But I know you're right.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words.
You're welcome. And you know, anyone who doesn't know David Schwartz, arguably one of the smartest geniuses within cryptography, blockchain, and of course the CTO at Ripple. The reason why I say that is because Martin has taught me an awful lot about life, investing, and crypto full stop. And I don't think within these 30 minutes you will get an appreciation for that. So you're going to have to follow him on all the socials to figure out why.
I agree with that.
There you go. So we'll start off with
Thank you, man. But yeah, no, David Schwartz is a legend, and I would not compare myself to him.
See, I can do that. You can't. That's why.
Thank you.
So, Martin, we brought you on the show for the special Christmas edition. And the reason is quite simple. I know that much. But there may be some people watching who don't know who you are. So how would you define Martin Valk?
Ooh. Who am I? I think I am... I kind of wrote... Like, I gave you the bio, obviously, ahead of time. But, like, in short... I am someone who likes to continuously learn new things. I think we'll get into more details in a second, but I am quite precise. I don't like to waste time. You might have seen it in my Twitter bio where it says, if you approach me, be brief, be bright, and be gone, is kind of my how I like people to approach me. But yeah, like I hope to be nice. I like to help people, all that stuff as well. And I kind of firmly believe in something that if you are able to achieve something, that you should bring someone along with you as well, right? So I guess this kind of platform gives me the opportunity to hopefully bring more than one person along.
Beautiful. And I know for a fact, you know, you've embodied that for the past nearly 3 years that I've known of you.
Thank you.
And so now is a chance for the rest of the world to get to know you. And so day to day, what do you do, Martin? I know you do a lot of things, but what do you want to share today?
So day to day, spend most of my time, I like obviously trading and looking for investment opportunities as well. But kind of depending on markets and stuff as well. I like to take a step away from like crypto and trading, all that kind of stuff, and learn new things as well. So I do a lot of that stuff on a daily basis. So just to kind of give you an idea, take the bear market. We talked about it previously, but like I kind of decided to learn a new skill, like the code, because I might think of something that I'm not able to do. And then I use like stuff like a bear market to learn the skill so that when the time comes, or preferably before the time comes, I am able to do it. So like that kind of stuff. So what do I do in day? I'm working on a couple of businesses, couple of applications that are being built right now by others. So a couple of meetings a week with them, make sure everything is progressing the way it should. Obviously with crypto, you can't keep up with it all, so that takes up a lot of time. And At the moment, as you know as well, I'm working on an automated trading system, which I want to bring out in 3 different levels. So like a newsletter, a Telegram group, and a completely automated trading system, which I'm still fine tuning right now because I want it to be perfect before it goes out. But yeah, perfect is hard, man.
Perfect is hard, and you can't rush perfection, right?
Very true.
If you can even attain it, right? But the most important thing is
you might not be able to attain it, but you can always reach for it.
You certainly can. You certainly can, because naturally that goal is going to keep shifting. As you even said, you've reached a bear market, and for people that don't know, I did a great video on a Nexo exit strategy, which probably was one of my most popular videos on YouTube. And that's this man right here that came up with that strategy. And I asked him in advance, can I steal it? Can I amplify it?
Absolutely.
And so much more. So what's incredible about you being a speed reader, an accelerated learner, you epitomize that as well, Martin. But you go that one step further. You share and you give without expecting. And I believe in the law of the universe. And I know that's all going to come back to you.
Yeah, I believe in the same thing. I think help enough people along the way, and whenever you need it yourself, there'll be someone there to help you out. So there's no point in trying to climb the ladder by keeping others down, right? We can all climb together. So that's the aim. And like I said before as well, I'm not one. I don't love being in front of the camera. So this is I think my first interview properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you asked if you were allowed to share my work, of course, absolutely.
Beautiful, thank you, man. And like I say, huge honor that I'm your first, certainly not your last. Which is a powerful segue into what's got you to this point right now. Because as a super investor, we ask 2 questions: what's your superpower, and what's your kryptonite? Excuse the dogs, my super dogs.
Yeah,
so,
no problem.
What would you say your superpower is as a super investor, Mark?
Yeah, so what I said to you personally was my girlfriend. Her name is Steph, and I kind of need to explain that a little bit more. Of course, it's I think you need, obviously, like everyone knows, you need people around you that support you. But I'm quite a difficult person to live with. Like a lot of stuff, I'm quite hard-headed, set in my ways, and just to have someone there that can support you when you need it, but also give you space and to do stuff that's not normal, right? So normal, I'm going to say, is like people get up, whatever, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever time they do, if they go to the gym or not before work, then they had to work around 8 or 9 till 5 or 6 or whatever in the evening, and if they put in extra time a bit later, and then they come home and they eat and they sleep and they go to and then that's just repeats. Oh, that's not me. I don't need a lot of sleep, so I'm quite lucky when it comes to that. But it also means that I usually go to bed at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I work best at night when everyone else is asleep because I don't have any distractions. And it's something you have to find someone that's able to put up with that, right? So if I put out my best work at night during these hours, but I'm not able to do those hours because someone is holding me back, that's a big issue. So to have someone there that supports me and believes in me as well, right? So sometimes I'm trying to do something and it's not working, and then I just complain to her as in I've been at this now for weeks and I just can't get it done, and she's like, look, just keep at it, you'll get it done eventually. So to have someone there that I think that supports you to fully is very important.
I can relate. My fiance, she plays a pivotal part in allowing me to do what I do, and I think that's what you've really tried to home in, right? Is not that she understands your world the same degree that you do. In fact, it's probably a benefit that she doesn't. My question to follow up from that, Martin, is we don't hear about this often. One, investing, quite male dominated. 2, crypto investing, even more male dominated. Yet with all the men within the space, yes, understandably, we're all here to make money and build generational wealth, etc., etc., etc.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't actually recall a moment where an influencer, a mentor, said that their partner was pivotal to their success. Why do you think that is?
I think people want to be flawless. I think they want to be perfect, and when they talk to a crowd of people that look up to them, they want to have a specific image around them of being perfect, which I think personally, I just don't agree with. Like, no one's perfect. We all have flaws, and we all need people to support us through those flaws, or to help us learn from them. And I think that's why I chose my girlfriend as a superpower, because that's what she does for me, right? And as she said, like, it's probably even better that she doesn't understand everything about crypto, because especially on Twitter, you get stuck in this what's called echo chamber, they call it, right? Like, this people that all agree with you and all think the same. And you get like this microscopic vision of stuff. It's great to see like a bigger picture from people that have absolutely nothing to do with crypto. It's like explaining to your parents as well what you do sometimes. Like, it's that just don't understand the tech. So how can you explain it like in the most easy to understand way? It's people like that around you that make you think of it like in a certain way as well. So as you said, like, I agree that when they don't understand what you're doing, it's sometimes even better. And sometimes she asks questions and I kind of like what? Like, why are you asking me that? Like, that's it's nonsense. But then I'm kind of like, nah, she's actually right, because everyone outside of my direct circle probably would ask that question. And if it's not clear to her, then I need to work on myself to make it clear.
In marketing, which is something, of course, I'm obsessed with, we're constantly taught to speak at a third grade level, right? And that doesn't mean because your audience is dumb. It just means that if you confuse your audience, you lose your audience. And I know that exact moment. I'm sure people who've got partners as well listening to this, they'll ask, what does XRP stand for? And you're like, yeah, I don't actually know the answer to that. Which I do. Actually, Martin, do you know what XRP stands for?
Of course.
Okay.
RP obviously for ripples, and the X is for the because it's a currency not owned by a country, right? So it's
bingo. You passed the test, Martin. You can stop sweating. But it is, I'm sure there are people who would say they are part of the XRP community, did not know what XRP stood for, because we don't ask ourselves those questions, because we are probably so ahead of ourselves, thinking of the next strategy, right? The next insight to know when it's going to move what way. But like you said, when we get out of our echo chamber, we see things from a massively different perspective. Now, we talked about, of course, the pros. I know, for one, as a primer, I've dealt with several conflicts, right? Because we ultimately have to become obsessed to master this skill of financial literacy. And that does mean there's conflicts with our partners. One way that I've solved that with my partner is we have literally created a calendar between us where it's religious, right? Where we have 2 dogs, which we see as our kids, and that is getting us ready for kids. But we have very clearly set defined responsibilities, right? She walks them in the morning and the afternoon, and she feeds them in the morning and the afternoon. She'll make lunch, and I'll do dinner, and I'll walk the dogs in the evening. And then we always have our time, 2 hours in the evening, religiously.
Yep.
Everything else, Jordan, you do what you have to do to make this vision come to life. How have you and your partner, if not, then maybe we can figure it out. But how have you and your partner figured out some sort of system to allow you to do your best work?
It's quite similar to yours. So she works remotely half of the days, and the other days in Amsterdam. And it's kind of like the days that she's in Amsterdam, I look after, I said, like food and dinner and that kind of stuff as well. But then the days that she's at home, she does it. So it's kind of 50-50 when it comes to that. Obviously, same like you, we've got a calendar. Everything gets put in the calendar. She has a tendency to fill my calendar, which I don't like. So I try my best to keep it open and blocked. just leave me alone. No, but like I said as well, like, so I do a lot of work at night. So like we usually after, like if she works in Amsterdam and she comes back home, then we obviously eat together, spend some time together, or maybe watch some stuff together on TV so I live in The Hague, which is by the beach. So we go for some walks on the beach and stuff, depending on the weather, of course, and that kind of stuff. But then at night, then when usually she'd go to bed a bit earlier than I would, and that's when I put in the real work, I guess.
That's powerful, and that, again, same but different, right? That if anyone at home feels like they live by the same system, well, guess what? There's 2 other guys that do as well. But where we found friction was when there wasn't clearly defined responsibilities, where it was the almost unsaid, right? Which sounds like common sense, right? To just have that conversation, have that difficult conversation of, I don't want to walk the dogs in the morning. Can you?
Yeah.
Because if it's not said and you kind of just leave it and hope he or she doesn't notice, I promise you it's going to be a bigger headache further down the line, you know. And so I definitely encourage anyone to have those challenging conversations with your partner, because it will just allow you to feel guilt-free when you are doing your work. Would you agree with that, Mike?
100%. And it's hard, and sometimes there's some tough conversations to be had as well to figure out who's going to do what, because maybe you both don't want to do it, but it still needs to be done, right?
You're not wrong. And then that special C word, compromise, comes in.
Exactly.
Now,
yeah, you're sure you get there in the end.
You're not wrong. Now, Mine, is there anything else that you wanted to add on and sing your partner's praises so we can make sure she sees this, of course?
If I get started, I probably can't stop now. I think I just want to say that I couldn't do what I do without her. So very happy that she's in my life, and hopefully that will stay that way for forever. But I'll leave it at that.
That's lovely. And when I was single, trying to figure out this game, right? Because it's what numbers are. We are trying to figure out this game of life. I thought having a partner would be a distraction, right? Mm-hmm. I'll be single track. It's a less expense, right? But what I found was actually when you combine your superpowers together, there's many things I couldn't do without her. And so I definitely had to have that mind shift. And if anyone listening right now is single and is in that mindset of I need to be single to achieve success, hopefully myself and Martin are two shining examples that you can have a partner, you can have kids, you can have a life outside of crypto and still do both.
Yeah, maybe just a quick add on there, because there's something that I kind of noticed as well, is that you want to achieve something and you set a goal, and then you're kind of willing to give up everything to achieve that goal. And what happens is you make the journey. You don't enjoy the journey because you want to give up everything to get to the goal. But what's going to happen is you're not going to achieve the goal as quick as you think you do. So instead of having to be like, it's just 1 year, it might end up being 5, it might be 3 years. That's my experience, right? And so instead of like just saying like it's only going to be a year, I'm going to give up everything, and you end up doing it for 5 years, just enjoy the journey, right? So make it enjoyable. And I think this is what you kind of said about your partner. So I was quite similar to you. I didn't want a partner. I wanted to be alone and just hammer, work as much as I could just to get where I wanted to go. But now looking back, since, just to bring up Steph again, like we lived in Dublin together. So Dublin's in Ireland. We lived in Sevilla, which is in Spain. We're now in The Hague, in the Netherlands. And we've had some great times. And COVID was terrible for a lot of people, but for us, it was actually amazing. We just said like, look, this is giving us an opportunity to do certain things. Let's go and do it. So as I'm working towards the goal, that's ever changing, right? Because whenever you achieve something, you keep moving the goalpost. But enjoying life on the way, which I think is very important. And she's definitely someone that looks after me when it comes to that, because I tend to forget about it. And she's someone that is like, look, next month we're going to Portugal for a weekend, or we're doing this, or we're doing whatever. And I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to, I need to do this and this. And she's like, we're going. It's like, okay. So yeah, I think that's very important.
Good. No, thank you for sharing that as well, Martin. It makes me realize I'm not alone in that mindset. I know for a fact, someone else is thinking the same as well. And that's what it is, just giving a different perspective. It really is. Talking about changing of perspective. So we've talked about your superpower, but ultimately we know you're not perfect. You've admitted that already.
Yeah.
So let's delve into that imperfection. What would you say is one of your biggest weaknesses right now that's holding you back as a super investor?
So there's many. I'm trying to think with like which one to kind of highlight and start with, but like so I showed this to Jordan previously. I got a personality test done back in 2017, I think it was, where it lists a lot of like my strengths and weaknesses, and obviously like we all don't agree with our weaknesses, and we totally agree with the strengths that you get back from tests like that. But like looking through the list of weaknesses, they're definitely all true, even though I don't want to admit it. So one of them that was probably top of the list that I got back was I don't suffer fools gladly, which basically means I can't cope well with idiots. Now, what an idiot is has to be defined, right? So it's for me, it means it's like people that waste my time, people that. So I've got a personality that is I'm very fact based and direct, and when people are not the same to me, it makes me angry. Like, so that's my thing. Is like learning how to communicate and talk with different people, because people are very different, right? And it's my shortcomings, I guess, is that I don't have a lot of patience for people that are opposite to me. I don't do small talk. I'm quite bad at it. In a way, like the Dutch kind of side suits me well, because they're very direct in the Netherlands. Everything is like, throw it in your calendar, meet you at that time, be on time. I'm very bad at people that don't fit like the way I want it, and that's something I need to work on. Like not everyone is that way, right? Or probably very few people are this way. So it's, in order to communicate well with others, I need to work on my own communicating skills, and it's mostly just adapting to other people.
One, thank you for admitting that, because, like you say, from another party, they're like, Martin, what are you on about? That's a superpower, right? You know, the fact that you know exactly what you want from a situation, that you don't tolerate idiots, haters, noise. You should be proud of that, because there's way too many people that do indulge in that activity, small talk, etc. But you have the optics to actually zoom out and say, you know what, this is actually holding me back. So if I was to probe a little bit more, would you agree then that you can learn from every interaction?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe let me just explain a little bit more, as you said, like probe a bit more into it. Yeah. So the whole reason I had this personality test done was because I've been in sales for what is it? I don't know, 9 years, something. And worked in tech sales, where we sold to like a lot of people. But like, so you've no control of like the other person on the other side of the phone, right? You still need to sell your product. That person is not going to adapt to you, right? So you need to adapt to them. But in order to adapt to them, you first need to recognize them. So like very quickly, you need to see, okay, what type of person is this, right? So is he someone who, I'm trying to think of like a quick example here. Like say selling a car, right? If you've in the personality test, so you've got 4 different types of people. Now they're not actually 4 different types of people. We are a mix of these 4 categories. So everyone is a little bit of everything, but they just lean towards certain sides. So blue would be like more fact based. Red is very direct. Yellow is like outgoing, and green is like caring, right? So you probably noticed yourself, Jordan, but like these.
Say that very... one more time, Martin, in case anyone missed that.
the colors.
I misheard you. I thought you said green is a Karen.
No, sorry. What I said, green people care. Sorry, that's the Irish accent there.
That's fine. I preferred my version. Go
ahead. Yeah, so green people care. Like yellow are more like outgoing. Blue are fact based, and red are like very direct. So I'm a combination of blue and red, which is quite weird. So fact based and quite direct. But my point, the reason I'm bringing this up is, say if I'm wanting to sell something to someone who's the opposite, right? Who might be green and yellow, so is very caring, and outgoing, whatever. They might like to talk about stuff. But if I want to sell a car to someone who's fact based, they might want to know, okay, like how fast is the car? What is the mileage on it? Whatever, like all that kind of stuff. But someone who's green might be like, it's got a lot of trunk space, so your kids can fit their hockey gear in when you pick them up from school or whatever, or from hockey or whatever, right? So there's 2 different approaches that you need for these people. So I'm learning, I'm getting better at it, recognizing other people, like which types they are, and communicating with them. I just don't enjoy doing it.
Which is fine, right? Because that self-awareness shows, okay, I understand the value here. I need to get better. Maybe you are better at it. I just don't enjoy doing it. And please remind me, is it called DISC profiling, right?
That's one of them. So the one that I did was Insights. I've done DISC as well, actually. I've done multiple. I've done DISC, and I thought DISC was still a bit vague. Insights was more specific. So I preferred Insights, but same thing.
Excellent. And Insights, do you remember where people can find out where they can get a test like that? Can they just type in Insights personality?
Let me have a quick look. And
cool. Whilst you're doing that, I'll fill up the space. Because I came from sales. It was my first professional job about 7 or 8 years ago. And I think we're always selling ourselves. And I learned that as well as a core principle. And at the beginning, I didn't like it either, Martin, that people fit into one of these 4 categories. I was like, nonsense, right? But like you said, actually, we are a blend, and we do lean towards one and the other. And then you need to learn how you operate in the wider world, because there's a great saying that Eckhart Tolle, who's very much of a spiritualist, that as soon as you start saying my world, you've already separated yourself from everything else. Right? As soon as you say my life, you've already separated yourself from the universe. And that you need to start saying, hey, life, this world I live in, and see yourself as connected. Because like you just said, Martin, I know I'm much more of a yellow and blue. Nice little diagonal across that diagram. Well, I'm logical. But hey, we can catch up about your weekend for the next half an hour. And then I know that when I speak to another yellow or blue, we can get on like a house on fire. But how do I talk with those direct people? And that does mean that I, quote, I can't be my authentic self. And that's not a bad thing, as long as I'm aware that in this setting, e.g. sales setting, that I'm adapting my personality to achieve this goal, as opposed to I'm trying to become something I'm not, because at the end of the day, that's going to be tiring and I can't keep that act up. Would you agree, disagree with some of the things I've said?
Yeah, no, definitely. And especially that you said like that it can get tiring and stuff. So another thing that kind of like goes into this as well that I only kind of found out this year is that I'm an extroverted introvert, which means that I'm an introvert, but I can do extroverted things quite well.
Yeah.
But I'm very selective, like who I do them with. I'd rather have quite a small group of friends that I get energy from, say, than a large group of friends. I'm the person that cannot contact you for a long time and then come back and then like kind of I get energy from being alone behind my computer, but at the same time I get energy from specific people. I don't like small talk and that kind of stuff in groups. Well, say my girlfriend Steph, she's amazing at it. You can chuck her into any room, and at the end of the night or whatever, like everyone will love her. Like, but I find that really hard to do. But yeah, just different types of people, I guess, right? But I think it's good to know what you are, and good to be able to recognize it in others, because it does make communicating a lot better. And like, I'll give you a very simple example. If you work in a team with introverts, it's so important, I think anyway, that you send them an agenda like ahead of time of what your meeting is going to be about, so that they can think about it on the spot and have their opinion ready when they come into the room. Because if you ask them in the room, the extroverts will dominate the conversation and the introverts won't even give their opinion at all. So it's something like that, right? So knowing and recognizing, and then knowing how to deal with it as well is very important. Because if you want feedback from everyone, you need to approach them in a way that works for them, right?
I do this thing, Martin, now where I tell my producer where to cut so he can make a dope edit. Niall, cut right there. Because, Martin, that I'm going to literally take note of that, because I manage a team, as I said to you offline, of 2 people, extremely talented young men. And I believe one of them might be slightly introverted. The other is extroverted. And we had our first weekly call today. Now, thankfully, because we're still figuring things out, that didn't happen. However, they didn't see what was going to be covered today. And they won't every time we meet up until now. Well, I'm going to show them, hey guys, this is what we're going through. Please add or comment before we get to the meeting, so we can make the most of that 1 hour, if anything, right? So thank you for that, Martin.
Hey, no worries, man. I've noticed it helps a lot. And if you want it to be representative, I know, I'm trying to think of the word here, view of the group, you need everyone's opinion, right? And if you're only going to get half of them, then it doesn't work.
So true. And I see that you've sent me the link. We'll make sure we plug that down below. Insights.com, nice and easy. I assume it's going to be a paid service if you want that full report like you had.
I think yes. So I think you can do it for free, and you'll get like a limited whatever you want to call it, like results. Paid is the full version, but I don't really know like what it costs or whatever, because we got it through the company that I worked for at the time, so I have no idea what the costs are. But I think it's worth it, just to learn more about yourself.
And I think that's the hardest barrier for many of us, is when, at least for me, speaking from my personal experience, when we hear about these personality tests, like, whatever, I know me, I live in my body. I don't need a test to tell me who I really am. However, when you start going through these questions, even if you do the, you probably remember the 10 types of personality, and you get like a certain character. It's a free one online.
Not sure.
Nonetheless, it'll come to me after this, and I'll message you at 3 a.m. That it's like a question, for example, one of those ethical, moral judgments where it's which one are you more likely to do in this situation? Be collaborative or another equally positive thing? Yeah, make sure everyone gets the accountability, or make sure everyone takes part. And you're like,
Yeah.
they're the same. Can I choose both? And it's like, no. At this moment now, this junction, you're going to learn a lot about yourself, about this situation, which is got two good outcomes, but you've got to choose which one would you actually do. And that's where I find you learn more about yourself when you're faced with situations where, again, would you want more money or health? And you're like, oh, that is a conundrum.
Yeah, it is. As they say, you can have everything, but just not everything at once, right? Or what's it again?
We'll leave it there. I don't know what it is, but that sounded good. You can have everything, but not all at once.
Yeah, or you can achieve everything, but not at once, or something like that. Like that's it. As in, like you can be whatever you want to be, right? When you're a kid, you just can't be everything. So you have to kind of choose. Like if you want to be an astronaut or a pilot or whatever, like you can achieve it. You just can't be both.
Well, the simpler version and the less sexier version I have is when you say yes to something, you say no to everything else.
Well, if they're mutually exclusive, of course.
Okay. I'll challenge you, just see where this goes quickly, Mike, which is I struggle with this when switching off, right?
All right.
When I switch off. Hey, I want to watch anime tonight, but I also want to play Xbox, and I also want to keep researching about crypto. So when I say yes to watching anime, I used to get anxiety of, but maybe I'll be having more fun playing Xbox right now. Okay, I'm not really enjoying this anime. I want to do that. So when you say yes to doing something, okay, can you multitask? You're more task switching, but really, you say yes to one means you say no to everything else. Would you have a different?
Well, this is what I mean. Like because they're mutually exclusive because your time is the limiting factor here, right? So if you have an hour to spend and you choose it to one, then you obviously can't use that hour for other things. But what I meant is like if they're not mutually exclusive, so you can choose a goal and then maybe achieve the other goal after you've achieved the first one, right? You can choose the order. That's but when the time is a limiting factor, obviously, then that's the problem.
I like that. Okay, sorry that I was playing by my rules with time constraints. But I know what you mean. For example, can you be a great partner and a great investor?
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Just means, hey, that time constraint, can you all do it in 1 hour?
Exactly.
Challenging. Thank you for this, Martin. I'm conscious of time because I know, of course, you're a man that but this has been thoroughly enjoyable, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and really enjoyed it. And as I said, this is kind of my first, I guess, interview or conversation. It didn't really feel interviewy, so really liked it, and sure, happy to do this whenever.
Nice.
Maybe a different topic next time.
For sure. And now, of course, here in England, happy Boxing Day. I was going to say Merry Boxing Day. And Martin, what would you say?
St. Stephen's Day, of course, for all the Irish out there. So I forgot that this was coming out on St. Stephen's Day. So I hope y'all have a good Christmas or had a good Christmas, and we'll have a fantastic New Year, of course.
We sure will. And of course, with tradition on this show, if you've gotten this far, please subscribe down below so you can get more value each and every week. But Martin, I want to hand it over to you. What's one last thing that you would love the audience to remember?
So I think one thing that I want to maybe give you is that, like, good things and bad things happen, right? So bring it back to crypto is like you have the bear market, you have the bull market. Don't hope that only good things happen during the bull market. Good things can be achieved during the bear market as well. And sometimes it means that you just need to step away from stuff and start something new, learn a new skill, and prepare yourself for the next good times, right? So use the lesser times, I'm going to say, to upgrade yourself, whatever that may be, right? So it might be learning to program or a new language or travel or whatever, but make the most out of the lesser times.
A reminder, which hopefully isn't too late for people, right? Because hopefully it's late in the sense that, we are now going to go into a bull market. But we also know that time will pass again, right? This will pass. So too will the good times with the bull market that will pass, and we'll be right back here at these. Actually, let me not jinx it. I'd like to think we're not going to be right back here at these prices.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
No, but it'll be relative, right? And we will be back in a bear market, whatever that looks like. And Martin, you practice what you preach. You've taken these past 6 months, however long you want to call it, and you've reinvented yourself. And
tried.
You certainly have tried. And life will definitely reflect that as well. I say, since investing, I now live life better because investing cliche teaches you to prepare for the long term. But same again, I used to lay in bed waiting for XRP to go to $1,000 because then I'm a millionaire, right? Those days have now gone because I've been here long enough where it's like, okay, well, we're still here. So how can I enjoy this process?
Question for you, Jordan. When you first got into crypto compared to now, how often do you check your phone price, the prices of crypto on your phone?
Gosh, and this is the fun part. And the naivete, I'm going to add on to that. If I knew what I know today, Martin, I probably never would have got into investing or crypto. And I know it sounds like really polarizing.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because, I'm 3 years in and, the cliches of £100,000, £1 million isn't a lot of money. It really does become true when you start to speak to people who have achieved that, or you start to see those type of numbers because you start to think bigger. And naive Jordan at the ripe age of 21 would have not been ready for the road ahead, right? What I've had to go through. However, now I'm here, I can't get out and I wouldn't get out.
Yeah.
But to answer your question about how often would I check, I actually have it as a widget on my phone. So it's on my background. But I would have the 1 hour, the 10-minute chart on my phone whilst we were watching Netflix. Because every time I saw that green candle go up on XRP, I'm like, babe, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. No. And then, of course, when we were in a bull market, she would have the 5-second green candle chart on. And so now I can sit here, and I think you subscribe to this as well, Martin. I extend my time horizons and I lower my expectations. So if I think the lawsuit would be over in a year, let's go 2 years. And if I think when we do win, that will go to $10, I think 5. And that just allows me to prepare with a constraint being time to manage my expectations. So that's the answer. And how about yourself, Martin?
So I guess back in 2017 is kind of when I started a lot of the crypto stuff. And I was constantly checking what's going to happen today. Am I making millions today or not? That kind of stuff. It's just constantly checking it. A lot of FOMO, right? You're afraid to miss out and stuff. So if you don't follow it all the time, you're going to miss out on something amazing. And then throughout the years, you learn there's not one opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities. Miss one, fine. Grab the next one. Price go up, price go down. I think it's wise to step away from it and be able to go and have a weekend away or do something and just not check it at all. So I think I actually don't check it that much at all anymore. I know where it's going long term. I've done my research. I believe in the tech. I don't know when, but I know it's going to happen. So
that's why I brought you on to tell us the when.
Oh, Friday, 12 o'clock. No, it's as long as you believe in first of all, do proper research, right? Look at projects and understand them. Don't believe anyone else's work, but actually read them yourself. And if you need someone to explain stuff to you, that's fine, of course. But do the research. And if you believe in a project, it's got a future. Crypto is not going away. And a lot of people don't understand it, but the technology is not going anywhere. So we're all in the right space. It's going to happen eventually, but you need to survive in the meantime, right? So just relax and enjoy it.
Beautiful. What a way to leave us. Relax and enjoy it. Thank you, Martin, for everything.
Thank you, Jordan. And thanks for having me on the show. It was a pleasure. And so as I said, hopefully again sometime.
Excellent. And if you didn't learn something new and you're not 1% better, hey, you're just going to have to come back next week. So we'll see you next week on the Super Investor Show.